feel very honored and fulfilled already. Well, just reflecting on what has been said already on the plenary, one thing to start off with, though I didn't plan that, to share is, since I've been pretty young, much younger than now, so 16, I've traveled a lot, also on my own. And what I learned is, and I've always had an open mind, I was always interested, so I traveled a lot in Southeast Asia and East Asia with a backpack and all this. So I was always keen on learning about the other cultures, religions, people, habits, whatever. And then people asked me back, and I also looked back on myself. And while I learned about the other, I also learned a lot about myself. That is a very early learning I took and which I kept. So it's not only we learn about the others, but in community we also reflect on ourselves while we see the other. So my interest in learning is the interest from somebody who is now for nearly 20 years worked in development cooperation, which once was called development aid. And so I'm puzzled working in this field, because if we look in general at global statistics, provided with all the techniques, modern techniques we have, it looks pretty good, you know. People, the planet, in many cases, or people at least, are better off than before. There's absolute poverty, is sort of degrading and all this. But if we look beyond all these fantastic statistics and aggregated figures, there is a different picture suddenly. Because actually the cleavages are bigger and bigger. And it's a different view on globalization suddenly. There is a big group of winners in many countries, and also in some countries where there were no winners before maybe, but there's also a very good, big group and growing group of losers, and also in countries where there were maybe no losers before. So I believe that if these cleavages cannot be closed, they will pose a threat to a sustainable and inclusive future that I guess we all want for humankind on this planet. So that is what we have to sort of learn for and what we have to aim for. Now the problem is that most people invited to conferences like this wonderful one and talking on topics like this are not on the side of the losers, but are sort of the ones who have fora to talk about this, who are already sitting at the table or on the stage and have means and ways to express their own feelings and opinions. But we are not representing all of them who should be represented. That's just something I think what we should all bear in mind. So to learn, in the sense to change and to innovate, that is very, very easy, very, very difficult to do that within the system, yeah? Because it happens that we are all locked to traditional theories, to models of the past, models we've been grown up with, we've been raised with, models of institutions, models of leadership, yeah? So that's what we also talk about in our the social labs that we create. I come to that later. Is that we are post the phase of heroic leadership, but if we are very, very honest to ourselves, how fantastic would it be if someone or some institution miraculously would do away with the perils and the challenges that we face day to day, you know? That is a fairy tale, you know, and we all know in our deep heart that it will not happen, and it's not a model for the future, but some deep down we hope for this. So what do we have? We have very good learning and analysis of the past and the present. So especially in the fields of economics and politics, we very much know what is going on, and even more what went wrong in the past and what is wrong now. So analysis is not the problem. And we are also, humankind I mean, we are fantastic creators. So to invent new techniques, we've done that since we are on this planet. So we are excellent at that. And today, in this moment, we basically have all the techniques to face the obstacles that are there on the planet for humankind. We know how to heal them. We know how to work with them. So we have the tools, we know the problems, So why don't we do anything? Why are we in the state we are at? So that is the question I ask for development cooperation and for international cooperation. So something is missing, and this part that has been missing, or that I see as missing, has been mentioned yesterday and today several times, because I picture that we miss a deep understanding of what that means, humanity. We seem not to understand that beyond all kind of borders that we have, be it professional sectors, faith, ethnic background, national, political differences that are there, sometimes on a very conflictuous level, humankind is at risk. And that should unify us. So what is missing and what is needed for a new leadership and a new set of learning is a new mindset to understand that we are all in one boat or ship or whatever kind of image you use, and we have to work together in order to save us. Not the planet, maybe, but us, apart from the few of us who will be on Mars then. But that's not many, so we are in for that. So, and I can't imagine any interests, be it political or religious or any kind, that cannot be bridged to reach that goal altogether. So I think we don't have time to find common values and everything, but we have to work with that common interest. So that is also referring to Anna yesterday, I think, who said that it should be humanity first, and then we should use the modern technologies to facilitate what we need, but not sort of be up to technology all the time. So it is the mutual survival that we are up for. And against that background, in my work, what we've done for the past 6 years is that we facilitate international dialogues, meaning really international ones. So we've done dialogues now with people from 150 countries, on basically social development goal topics, but in a broader sense. So we've worked, for example, on topics of countries who have a traumatic past, and we've worked on sustainable oceans, on urban innovation, etc. And we use a social lab approach, which includes a lot of facilitation techniques like meditation. We never use a single PowerPoint. It is meditation, it is solo walks, it is journaling. It's a lot of techniques that people who attend these dialogues are not used to, find weird in the beginning. And then applying these weird techniques, and these dialogues branch over 8 months, over 12 months, and people re-meet again, and we convene them in spaces that actually breathe the topic. So with an oceans lab, we went to the Mexican coast, we went to the Baltic Sea, and we went to the South African coast. And it's always the ocean, but it's always very different. And people saw that it's different, what ocean, what water means to people. And we had people there from Shell, and we had chiefs from the Fiji Islands. And both have a very dear interest in the oceans, but very different ones. And they never talk with each other. They talk about each other, usually. In that lab, they talked with each other for 12 months. And they changed their perspective. They don't love each other in the end, but they understand each other. And that's the basis then for different learning, for opening up, and for doing things on the ground that bring change.